All right, welcome back, Chelsea fans, to another London is Blue podcast, YouTube exclusive. That is right, we are back after Chelsea women lose in the Champions League for a really, really difficult result. Was obviously hoping to come on and celebrate a 32nd win in a row for Sonia Bonpastor and co. It just ends at 31. Chelsea were outplayed against City at their place in the Champions League, and it's put a significant doubt in whether Chelsea can advance in this competition. We will get into all that here in a second. But yeah, on the brink is my 3-word match review for this one. The result was tough. The play was sloppy at times. And this was just not a vintage Chelsea performance on the road in the Champions League, especially knowing how difficult it is to play up there. Not what you'd hope for. So let's just dive right into this one and let the bad news truck kind of back up here. We did lose 2-0 to a brace from Vivian Miedema, who dispatched expertly in both instances. She came on as a halftime sub, really did some damage to Chelsea in the second half after a very, very good battle-tested first half. City did ascend in the second half. The lineup was a little interesting, I think, in this one. Played more kind of like a 4-4-2 than anything else. Hannah Hampton in goal, Sunday Baltimore, Millie Bright, Natalie Bjorn, and Lucy Bronze. You have midfield of Kira Walsh returning from injury alongside Erin Cuthbert. Kat Macario and Lauren James kind of played as 10s, and then Beaver Jones and Myra Ramirez kind of played up top. Subs, Vika Kaptein comes on and does a pretty decent job, caused some chaos. Shuka Nuskin as well. That was 46th and 59th minute, respectively. JRK comes in the 59th minute, and Micah Hamano comes in for Myra in the 72nd minute. Unused subs, Spencer Cox, Lawrence Charles, Jean-Francois, and Lola Brown. So, stat line for this one, very, very, very interesting, because Chelsea actually flipped the script from the League Cup final, the Subway Cup final, where they ceded possession to City and then ran on the counter and obviously scored a couple of goals that way. Chelsea had 60% possession in this game, 10 shots on target, or 10 shots to City's 15, 6 shots on target to City's 8. Relatively even. I mean, some of those City shots were very straightforward and right at Hannah Hampton. So take of that what you will. More passing, better pass accuracy, more fouling, from us, or less fouls from us, more for them. 2 offsides to their 5 and 7 corners to their 4. I think if you looked at this, you would have thought, wow, Chelsea actually played pretty well in this game. And, it's a little bit of a different vibe than what we saw at the League Cup final at the weekend. So, of course, a lot to dive into. Like I said at the beginning, this would have set a record. If Chelsea would have figured out a way to win this game, it would have set a record for a WSL team across all competitions, currently tied for the record with 31 straight unbeaten. This would have been the record. So unfortunate for the team. But yeah, not a phenomenal performance. And I think, the right result did kind of come to bear here. Sonia had some quotes, and I think this is an important bit of setup for the larger context at play. She said, "Tonight was not the decisive game." That is, of course, correct. As I said to my players at the end, we were all disappointed and frustrated about the result, but we have the second leg at home next week, and everything is possible. I've been in this situation before when things don't go the way you want in the first leg, but you still have the second leg to approach the game in a different way to help qualify. So now this is my main focus, and we'll do everything possible to make it happen. She added, "It's tough, difficult, obviously. I think we have to say tonight was a difficult night. Sometimes it happens in football. So my job is to make sure it's okay for everyone to be disappointed about the performance and the result. But from tomorrow leading into the next game against City, we have to analyze it as a team performance and go with a positive attitude into the next 2 games. So anything is possible, and we have the quality to turn it around." Anything is possible. We do have the quality to turn it around. Will we, though, is the question, because I think a very perturbed Sonia Bonpastor watched this game from the sidelines and the team just did not respond with the quality that you would have expected of a team that had gone 31 games unbeaten to start the season all the way to March 19th before being beaten this year. It just didn't turn up. And I think for a lot of Chelsea women's fans, we've seen these performances before, right? Especially up at City. But if you really just look at the form, and the types of performances since the winter break, there were a couple of decent performances in there, but a lot of bang average performances, a lot of gutting it out at the end or holding on to a lead for long stretches, players kind of coming in and out of form. Ollie Glanville and I did a whole separate video on that a couple of weeks ago. All the players that were kind of rising and falling at the exact wrong time. And it wasn't a huge surprise to me that we lost this game. This was always going to be the toughest one. I'm disappointed in the performance because I do believe, we had enough quality to at least leave with a draw in this game, and a little bit of sloppiness on the defensive side, a whole bevy of kind of missed opportunities offensively. And, the team just did not show up and perform to the level that would have been expected. I think the stats are almost surprising to me that we had 60% possession, but largely the last 20 minutes of the game was us just pushing and pushing and pushing. So I think it kind of inflated that number. It felt more 50-50 watching it in real time. But yeah, the stats would tell you we would do better. The stats against them in the League Cup final would have told you we did worse. Football is funny that way. This was not a vintage performance. I think there were players all over the pitch who simply didn't have their best game. Looking at Kat Macario, looking at Kira Walsh, even Millie Bright didn't have the best of days. And that's really saying something because she has been unbelievable, might be player of the season in a lot of ways. So, Myra up front, not putting the goals away. I mean, this is a pretty tough performance. There were some players who did okay, who played out of City's pressure incredibly well, but this is not the performance that you would have hoped for. And it does, kind of feel like City played the reverse card on us. In the League Cup final, we only had 43% possession and, played on the counter, looked dangerous. In this game, City really did the same thing, exploited huge gaps on the counter, really took advantage of the chances that they got. We were unfortunate that, the amazing Hannah Hampton save that led to the first goal just rebounded perfectly to Miedema, who put it away on the goal line. Basically, these things happen in football. That's really nobody's fault. But there were chances before that as well. City were attacking through the middle with some long balls in behind. I think especially our fullbacks today really struggled to cope in that way and the kind of directness that City played with. And it cost us. It cost us a big, big, big result. We'll talk about more about what that means for the second leg and how Chelsea could potentially turn it around. But it was a tough one. So that's insight one. Kind of felt like it was coming. Our performances have been, barely good enough, and this was not good enough. And so now back to the drawing board, and we'll see what happens on Sunday. Goal scoring is a fickle art. There were plenty of chances that Myra had one-on-one or coming on to her left foot. She simply didn't shoot today. Passed the ball more frequently, did cutbacks. Unlucky, to be offside for the goal that she did put away. JRK obviously missed a gilt edge opportunity to level the game at 1. Ball hits the bar and ricochets out away from a Chelsea player. It's a difficult thing. I felt like all season we're getting into good positions, but we're lacking a little bit of that clinicality that we've seen under Emma Hayes during winning time. That we have not seen that this season. We haven't seen the blowout result where everything goes in the back of the net. I think you're really missing Guro Wrighton. You're really missing a Sam Kerr, in these moments, who are bona fide goal scorers and take their chances when they're given. I believe they would make a huge difference in games like this, where you're kind of looking for a solution. But goal scoring is a fickle art, and Chelsea need to be much, much better in front of goal if they are to even have a chance to advance, let alone take on whoever is next in the Champions League. So a lot of work to do on that front. And then I think insight number 3 is just a midfield in search of solutions. City make it really difficult to play through the middle of the park. There were times at which we broke their press today and we looked really dynamic and the passing was crisp and we would get the ball up to Myra, who would lay it off to Aggie or Lauren or anyone up front. But cutting through that City midfield has proven to be difficult and difficult and difficult and difficult. And it just doesn't fill you with a whole lot of comfort that Keira Walsh is coming off an injury. I think she struggled physically to keep up with the pace a little bit today. Erin Cuthbert is coming off this nagging rib injury. You don't know how healthy she really is. She's putting herself around just fine, but I think in terms of midfield, like City's winning that battle pretty conclusively right now. Hasagawa and Roard and Park did an incredible job today to do that. But you have to remember, City are missing a lot of players right now. And, the fact that we were struggling to kind of match up with their three with our two is just kind of indicative of what we're doing. Nuske and Walsh and Cuthbert were all like 6'7", 6'8" in this game. Not that many passes go through midfield. Walsh only had 34 total passes, Cuthbert 33. Nuskin comes on as a sub, only has 13. We're not playing through the middle, we're playing through the wings. The midfield has to start dominating again. I think if you want to see any chance for Chelsea to advance, and even if we do advance out of this, which is very far from guaranteed at this point with this result, have any chance against the big boys out there. So, the midfield is kind of in search of solutions here. Harry Edwards, with a truly uplifting tweet earlier, said, "It's the end of a run, not the end of the world. That'll come next Thursday after we've lost 3 games in a row." Yikes. While I admire the pessimism, as that is an art form that I like to partake in, we have 2 more games against City to play. We're 1-1 so far, right? We win the League Cup final, we lose the away leg in the Champions League. I think, it would have been the worst thing in the world to have that reverse, but a trophy's a trophy, so you kind of take that and run with it. There's a lot that needs to change. You look back at the home league tie against City, a really nervy affair, a very good affair. 1-0 to Chelsea, grind out result. You look at the League Cup, similar thing. You look at this, City are deserved winners. These games are really tight, despite the difference in league table position. City are a well-coached team. They're a well-drilled team. I think they're probably further in their tactical development with the way that they're playing than what Chelsea is and what Chelsea looks like right now. To beat them in the Champions League and in the league on Sunday, Chelsea are going to have to try something else. One, they're going to have to finish their chances. Again, getting into decent positions, but not finishing the chances as efficiently as we could. 2, we're going to have to figure out a way to get Millie and Natalie Bjorn some help in transition. The fullbacks are pressing up way too high. The midfield is not connecting well enough offensively or defensively to really impact these games. We got to figure out a way to get them some help so they're not 2-on-3 the entire time. That would be ideal. And you got to look at personnel. You got to think about, it's going to be the 4 games in 13 days. How do we get the most out of our incredible bench? How do we get the most out of players who might not have played a ton of minutes of these first couple of games? And is there a spark in the mix here? Is there a spark with Sam Kerr potentially making an appearance off the bench in the second leg? These are the questions. Let's focus on Sunday because that's the league game. Chelsea are 8 points up in the table. It's been a relative cruise in the league so far. If Chelsea can turn around some fortunes on Sunday and beat City at their place, it would go a hell of a long way to setting up a really great matchup at home. If Chelsea even draw up there, not the worst result in the world, all things considered. Chelsea lose again, and that's 2 losses on the trot after having gone 31 games unbeaten. You're starting to wonder, I think, whether the story tale, kind of Champions League charge is going to be there. Because, frankly, 2-0 down at home is a lot to, going into your matchup at home, is a lot to overturn, especially when City don't really give up that much. And they play us very well. It's a tough matchup. I think for both teams, very evenly matched up. Not the best. So how are Chelsea going to deal with this? And you hope it's with the same determination that was born under Emma Hayes in that era, that they come out and the magic turns on again, that they're able to summon that one more time, that they're able to put away their chances, that the crowd is able to get behind them. Fingers crossed. It's going to take the best performance of the season to overturn 2-0. And it's a little somber to say that, but the Champions League run is in real jeopardy, and it's only the quarterfinals. So let's see what they do. Let's see how they approach Sunday. I would anticipate a bevy of changes for Sunday's matchup. I think both teams are looking at that second leg of the Champions League to solidify it the following Thursday. So let's see what happens. And look, until next time, Chelsea fans, you know what to do. Keep the blue flag flying high.